Intelligence officers don't rely on GPSs, and neither should we. It's all about being more aware of our surroundings to keep ourselves secure and prepared. So one big reason for this is that technology isn't always reliable, simply. Your phone could die or just stop working when you need it the most. But furthermore, using a GPS on a smartphone makes it much easier for hackers to track exactly where you are. So avoiding it helps you stay private and secure, which is especially important during an emergency when you need to be totally familiar with the area where you live. And while you might not do this for a quick 2-day vacation, you really should take the time to do it for your hometown or a new place you've moved to in a new area. It's crazy to think how many people are unaware of their own neighborhoods, to the point where they spot a store that's been around for a decade, but they think it's new. So to avoid this, you should do what the real spies do, which is when they're in a new spot, they perform an area familiarization. And depending on how big the city is, this could take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. So you'll want to start with the major roads. Think of the thoroughfares or the main highways in your area, and learn those main ways first. And then from there, you start working your way down to the smaller and the smaller side roads. And a great way to do this is to break your map up into a grid or different sections based on, sometimes you can see that there's a grid of main roads, and within those main roads there are blocks. Or you may want to go based on a certain number of blocks at a time, these sections. So you could pick one quadrant to learn first, then move on to the next, and keep going until you know the whole thing. So you really need to know every inch of it, because if a crisis hits and you have to evacuate, you're going to be in deep trouble if you only know one way to get out. Because after all, those main roads are going to be jammed. Everyone wants to go down the highway. If there's a major crisis, everyone has to leave the city. They're all going to take the same route, and it's not going to be better than it should be. The highways are supposed to be fast, but when everyone wants to go down it doesn't make sense anymore. So if you live in a major city, for example, you might know a couple major highway routes. You might also know some paths that cut through residential areas. You might know a route that parallels a major winding river. And you might know a dozen other ways to get somewhere because you've taken the time to thoroughly know your city. And similar to people who don't really know their area or haven't been paying attention to new development and stuff, a lot of people don't know their direction. They don't have a sense of compass direction. They don't know which way north, west, south, or east is. And this can be important if you're just using something like a compass. So definitely get a sense of direction. Know where north is, south, east, west. Know where the ocean is. Know where the mountains are. What if you have to find high ground? Then you need to know where the mountains are. Because if there's earthquakes, which is a major concern these days, well then what follows after earthquakes? Tsunamis. So you don't want to be in low ground, you want to be in high ground. And for example, if you don't always have something that has a compass or something that shows you the directions, north, south, east, and west, then at least when you learn where these directions are, just find some markers that always let you know which direction you're facing, right? In my city, personally, the mountains are always north, right? Anywhere in the city, in the zones that you're facing, in most, even the neighboring cities too, if you see mountains nearby or that are assumed to be about half an hour drive away, the biggest mountain ranges are always north, because we have this huge mountain range on one side of the city, and the city is just 10 minutes drive away or so, on good traffic, 10 to 25 minutes away. And then there aren't any mountains around. There's no mountains to the west because it's ocean, and no mountains to the east because that's all land. And there's just this stretch of mountains on the north going all the way horizontally in front of us. And then nothing in the south either, just more stretches of land. So it's a very effective way for me to know my city. Just knowing where the mountains were, I could always remember north and always have my sense of direction. Now, the most efficient way to do this is to just drive around on any free Sunday afternoon or day off. It's a good idea to go for a drive and realize which neighborhoods you haven't explored yet. You should buy a paper old-fashioned map as well and lay it out and decide that you're going to learn one specific section of your area every week or so until it's finished. And by doing this, you'll actually learn your area and notice things that you never did before, like a new housing development going up or old houses being torn down. And so it's essential to take this time to familiarize yourself, whether you're in your long-term home or have just moved to a new place, as I said. So I don't recommend relying on your GPS all the time. You need to follow a process like this if you want to get to know your city or town well enough to be able to escape quickly in case of an emergency. That's all for now.